JoshCast, brought to you by processed white sugar. I don't even think that's a thing now. I think it's processed white flour. It was going to be a perfect opening. It was going to be perfect. And then I said processed white sugar. Is that a thing? I'm not sure. I know there's processed sugar and there's processed white flour. The whole thing's derailed. I should start over. No, I will not start over. I will allow the mistake to be there. And as Robin Williams would say, I would treat it like a Buddhist gift, which is difficult to exchange at Nordstrom's. And I don't feel good about that at all. This is just, I was going to start this podcast. I had such high hopes. And they've derailed so quickly. I think this is a record of how quickly my hopes on a podcast have derailed. Just within the span of a minute. This was not at all what I intended it to be. I mean, this was going to be, this would have been a great podcast. I'm doing this because I don't feel like doing it, and so that tells me I need to do it. How am I doing? How are things? Well, I ate about 3/4 of a marshmallow brownie thing at the Yard House last night. Oh, God. And that also shows you, by the way, that I'm getting older, because I didn't say Yard House. I said the Yard House. An indication that I am no longer young. But people tell me, oh, Josh, you're young. You're young. And I just don't feel that way lately. Like, I'm really beginning to feel the disconnect between myself and people in their 20s. That, this is the first time where I'm really starting to feel like they are a different species. And it's not, by the way, because they are whatever they are millennials or whatever. I don't even know. Are the people in their 20s technically millennials? I don't even know what's going on with that. But it's not even that. It's just, I think if I were 37, but I was living in the 80s, then I would look at the kids who were in their 20s then the same way. That it doesn't matter. This is a non-time specific, non-era specific feeling of looking at younger people and really beginning to feel older. I hope that makes sense in what has turned into a podcast on TED Talks. Or a TED Talk podcast. A podcast talk. A TED Talk podcast. You know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. I feel older. And it's only going to get worse. In some ways, it'll get better. I think the way my trajectory is going to go, when I get old, I'm going to care less and pee more. That seems to be my track. And then death, and then after that, probably something else aggravating. So I ate that thing, and I'm feeling it this morning. Now, I was really expecting to not feel good. I feel okay, not bad, not great. So that's happening. Feeling frustrated with stand-up, which is, par for the course. As per usual. Had just a bad run of open mics, just not doing well. Bombing. Probably because I'm trying to get into the headspace of working clean. So I'm trying to write stuff that is clean as opposed to writing stuff that I feel. That's the problem. And I'm trying to artificially take a topic and find the feeling of the topic and kind of work from the outside in. So, is that the best way to do it? I don't know. A year ago, I would have said no. But maybe I enjoy a little bit the challenge of trying to make something that's not working that I don't necessarily feel work. And that was... I want you to point out, by the way, that I almost got into a car crash as I was talking about this. because the guy making the left turn was trying to make the left turn into my lane and didn't realize that that was my lane. And that's a metaphor, really. And he's this giant truck, and I'm this tiny Honda. And that feels a lot like what I just went through right there was elementary school, basically. Encapsulated in a single moment. The guy, the truck apparently specializes in water damage. But we almost had to get a truck that specializes in car damage. Hey! I'm also not feeling fun. I'm not feeling funny. That's the other thing. I'm just not in a funny mood right now. Or rather in a positive, creative mood in which funny is easier to come up with. I'm in a depressive, bitter, angry kind of mood. Surrounded by people who cannot drive. That's where we're at. And people who cannot walk. There's a lot of dysfunction going on in the general area where I'm at right now, which is concerning. And then the guy in front of me right now started veering into my lane, then turned on the turn signal. What is happening to America? What is happening to America? I ask you. That's my terrible Walter Cronkite impression. Walter Cronkite. There we go. What did I say? Cronkite? Walter Cronkite. There it is. How depressed are you, Mr. Snyder? I listened to 2 podcasts back to back. My God. So I'm feeling that. Just kind of this down energy. Tired. Worried. Stressed. Too tired to be stressed yet, but it's coming. Just as soon as the funny thing is that there are these things I'm worried about that could happen. And what's so odd, what amazes me is that, the thing I worry about something, an event. I worry about an event or a conversation I need to have or something that's about to happen. And it comes up and it happens and it turns out to be okay. And then I breathe a huge sigh of relief. And breathing the huge sigh of relief is so... The whole thing is so stupid because there's only going to be something else coming up a minute later or a day later or a week later. So ultimately, I should always be breathing a sigh of relief because there's never going to be relief. Now this is a TED Talk. I should be relieved because there will never be relief. So why look for it? And as usual, it circles back to Judaism. I'm not sure that's in the Bible, but it should be. I'm pretty sure that was the beginning of a rabbi's sermon. You think there's going to be relief? I'm sorry. Who do you think we are? What kind of dog and pony show do you think this is? That's not the right metaphor. This is just one colossal blunder to another. I'm starting to feel that marshmallow brownie now. Now it's making itself apparent. Now my intestines are exacting their... I can feel my intestines going, okay, you want to play? We'll play. You want to play? You got to pay. That's what my intestines are saying at this moment. Always. I never know. Because sometimes I can get away with eating something bad like that. I can sneak it, and my intestines don't notice. And then other times, they exact a revenge. And my intestines are like Anton Chigurh, where they come in and it gets nasty. It gets nasty when that happens. It does, Mr. Cronkite. It does. You know, I had a whole agenda for this podcast. There was something specifically I was going to talk about, and it totally left my head. It totally did. I mean, I should really script this thing. But then that doesn't feel authentic. Oh, yes. My intestines are going, oh, so you're gonna record your podcast now? Well, it's time for us to exact our revenge. Perfect. A perfect thing to be happening in the car, by the way, in moderately heavy traffic. I should know better. I thought to myself, I don't need to order this. I don't need to order this. I'm struggling with the sugar. I knew I shouldn't have ordered it. I knew I didn't need to order it. I didn't need to, but I saw it. I saw the marshmallow, and I was seduced. I was seduced by the marshmallow on top of the brownie. That brought me in. If it had just been a brownie, I probably would have been able to pass. But then they dropped the marshmallow on me. And I was sold. And now I'm up the creek without a paddle. What am I hoping to achieve? I don't want to talk about that. I really don't. I'm tired of talking about how much of a failure I am. It's getting old. Maybe if it gets old enough, I'll succeed. Oh! Boom! Boom shakalaka. You know, it's not that I hate dogs, by the way. I don't hate dogs. Dogs are quite delightful. I see the appeal of dogs. But I'm with Team Cat. I've got to be with Team Cat at the end of the day. I think it's just because it's that I'm jealous of I admire the cat. Because the cat seems to have the ability to be relatively self-sufficient. And that's what I want. Even emotionally self-sufficient. The cat can go, you know what, you can pet me if you need to. But I've got a full calendar here. So, you do what you need to do. I said that to a server last night. Because she said, I'll be right with you in a second, but I got to get these other... And I said, listen, you do what you need to do. And that's such a condescending phrase to say, now that I think about it. It sounds... It's so much more dramatic than what needs to be said to a server in a restaurant situation. You do what you need to do. You say that in a situation where someone's got to bring those boys to justice. And it ain't going to be in a courtroom. I understand, Jesse. You do what you need to do. You understand that when I meet those boys... No, you don't need to say it, Jesse. Do what you need to do. So you're basically saying it's okay for me to murder them in cold blood. Yep, pretty much. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Dead possum in the street. Ah, depressing. Or perhaps not. Perhaps the possum is at peace. I hate when people say that. I really do. Did you hear that guy died? Ah, well, he's at peace now. You don't know that. You have no idea what he could be. He could be in hell. Or it could be, again, something that's... Because heaven and hell, such dramatic concepts when we think about stuff after death. And I can't help but wonder if whatever happens after death is mundane. He's at peace now. No, he's not. He's working another job. What, in the next world? Yeah. What is he doing? He's a contractor. Oh. Well, how's he liking it? It's not what he wants to do. So why doesn't he do what he wants to do? Well, he's got to pay the bills. Where? In the other dimension. Ah, God. Yeah, well, that's too bad. Yeah, it is. So he's not at peace. So you can't live with that lie. I'm not going to let you live with that lie. So that you can tell yourself, I'll be at peace and have something to look forward to. No, I'm not going to give that to you, Timothy. Driving through the city of Burbank, driving through the city of love, driving through the city of Burbank. Oh, look, I just hit a dove. It's important to have a musical interlude in a podcast. And let the record show, knock on wood, poo poo poo, I have not hit a dove. I don't know, our dove is just pretty much entitled pigeons. That's what it feels like to me. So much hatred towards the pigeons. So much love towards the dove. Can't help but wonder why that is. What's to hate about a pigeon? Pigeons don't seem angry to me, but surely they have the same emotions as all other animals. But the pigeon seems... they don't seem angry. Crows, on the other hand, they seem pissed most of the time. Or just... like they are up to something. Pigeons, I don't know. Pigeons just walking around going, yeah, things are great. Things are fine. How you doing? I'm fine. How are you? I'm all right. Things are fine. How are the kids? They're good. I guess my pigeon is somewhat Seinfeldian. Don't know why I'm talking about the pigeons right now. God, I'm old. How can this be a podcast? I don't want to get that self-deprecating. I want to keep focusing on that. Do what you got to do. Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Where did I pick that up? I had to pick that up from some brawny guy who, I don't know what he was. It had to be that. It had to be a brawny dude. That's where I had to pick that up. Do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. That's what you say to somebody when they're about to take a bunch of weapons and go into a truck. Do what you got to do. Yeah, I never want to use that phrase again in polite company. See, I'm watching this guy speeding through traffic, driving a Ford Mustang. The Ford Mustang. Let's talk about the Ford Mustang. Let's talk about this thing. The muscle car, the Ford Mustang. The Ford Mustang. There's another one right there. Ford Mustang. Muscle car. Angry, mean-looking car. The Mustang. Powerful. Powerful. The Ford Mustang. Powerful car. Yeah. Ford Mustang. You drive a Ford Mustang? No, I drive a Ford Escort. Ah. Less powerful car. The Ford Escort. I remember the Ford Escort. I remember it not being a great car, but then I was talking to somebody who they remember it being a decent car. So I don't know what the takeaway is on it. Maybe it was an okay car. The Ford Escort. What a name for a car. I'm not a fan of the name. There's something about the name, the Ford Escort. It sounds too close to Ford slave of the system. I'm driving a Ford slave of the system. Yeah, I drive around the other more expensive cars, and if somebody tries to shoot those cars, they hit my car, the Ford Escort. I drive the Ford Surf. You familiar with it? Yeah, decent gas mileage. Yeah. I don't completely own it, no. I think it owns me. Yeah, I'm driving the new 2017 Ford Indentured Servant. Decent gas mileage. Yeah, it's a hybrid. Yeah, I feel good about what I just did. I feel good about that. I don't know if it'll play, but I feel good about it. I feel like that accomplished something. I feel like that definitely accomplished something. That didn't accomplish something. I accomplished something. But did I accomplish something? All right, now here's the conundrum. I need to get into the right lane. There's a police officer that is just ahead of me. And I don't want to speed up. So I'm going to... Oh, and he just went to the left lane because in front of him is this truck with a bunch of supplies in it that's moving very slowly. It's moving at Ford Escort-like speeds. I wish it could move more at Ford Mustang-like speeds. Yeah, I'm driving the new Ford Minion. It's good. It's a good car. It's nice. Yeah, it's great. I drive it to my people-pleasing job every day. The Ford Minion. Because you just got to get through the day, man. That's their slogan. Ford Minion. You're just surviving. Well, I felt like the end of the podcast picked up. So if you're still listening, if you managed to stick with it, good for you. If you stopped listening, you missed out on some real marginal thoughts.